Well, good morning, everybody. Here we are again for another one of our Tech Stack webinars. My name is Rebecca and I'm Client Services Manager here at Farnell, Clarke. And today on our Tech Stack journey, we have GoCardless, which is a brilliant software. Obviously, Florian's here to go through some product demos and some more insights, but yeah, highly recommend it. I mean, we use it here at Farnell, Clarke for our Direct Debit offering. So I'd like to introduce you to Patrick.
Hi there, I'm Patrick Levy. I work in the business performance team here at Farnell Clarke, and can't speak highly enough. GoCardless is pure genius, allowing companies to recover all their fees with pretty much no effort at all. And it cuts out the work for both sides. So accountants are happy because we don't have to do as much chasing for people, and businesses are happy because they get more money in. It's just low effort and it works brilliantly. It's not just for companies with recurring fees, although most of the companies I work with do have recurring fees. But it's for companies that also have invoices that change every month. But it's brilliant. We work with people with cash management, and part of that is credit control. And quite often you're all sorts of tactics to try and get money in, but this one is, it just sort of cuts all that out and says, right, let's just get this stuff collected when it's supposed to be. So let's find out how it works. I'll hand you over to Florian here, who's from GoCardless. He'll tell us how the product works.
Thanks so much, Rebecca and Patrick, for this lovely intro. I will share my screen now so everyone can see that, a little bit of context. There we go. So yeah, my name is Florian Reinhardt. I joined GoCardless 7 months ago as a global partnership manager looking after accountants and Xero. In particular, on the Xero side, my role is really to keep Xero happy and grow the two organizations of ours together, and also make the life for accountants and SMBs much easier when it comes to how they collect payments with their clients. Very nice to be on this morning. So for those people that have never heard of GoCardless before, one of our key goals really is to achieve is that we want to get the pain out of getting paid, so you as a business owner can focus really on what you do best, which is like client relationships or business development to get new businesses on board. What you shouldn't spend time on is chasing your clients on a regular basis. And we have like these unfortunate statistics coming up every year, where thousands of businesses going bust because they have too many late paying clients and they get into cash flow issues and can't solve them and have to register insolvency. And we want to make a difference here. So Direct Debit is an interesting payment solution. When we talk about the way how you collect payments, is like in a lot of instances, it's like 52% are still getting paid by banks, bank transfer, or you take card payments with your clients. But the only way where you as a merchant have full control as and when you're actually getting paid is with Direct Debit, because Direct Debit is a pull-based payment solution. That means it's like you as a merchant decide literally as and when you take the money out of your client's bank account, once they've given you the consent, which only needs to happen once. And many people are probably familiar, that's a so-called Direct Debit mandate, which I will show you later on. Patrick was touching on this earlier. It's like, what are typical use cases for Direct Debit? Because there's a little bit of a misconception going on. It's like people believe like Direct Debit can be only for recurring payments, and it has to be the same amount over and over again. So that is a typical use case for standing orders, which a lot of people are sometimes mixing up with Direct Debit. Direct Debit is a much more flexible payment solution. It applies for recurring payments, as you might think for subscription businesses. If you think about the gym, probably if you have a gym membership, you might pay it via Direct Debit. But there are also like more ad hoc billing instances where Direct Debit comes into play. So every time when you raise an invoice more than twice a year with a client, as a sort of rule of thumb, Direct Debit might be a payment solution you want to look into, because in the long run, it might be much cheaper than other options. And again, it puts you really in control as and when you're getting paid, because with banks and card payments, you're fully reliant on your clients to think about paying you on the specific due date. brief overview, like why is it structurally better? And we generally believe Direct Debit is a structurally better payment solution. Is you get paid on time every time, because technically if all of your clients are paying via Direct Debit, late payment can't happen at all anymore. It reduces admin and save time. We have like bespoke integrations with major accounting packages, which helps like firstly to push the entire transactions into that system. So you don't need to do any manual data entry anymore. But equally, you don't need to focus a lot of time on the reconciliation time of things. And lastly, you don't need to chase your clients, which then leads to point 3, freeing up a lot of time to build those client relationships and focus more on what you really do best. Just a very interesting statistic we received like a few months ago from Xero is currently the status is that 1 out of 4 Xero partners are using GoCardless to collect their fees with their clients. And if you look at the statistics, what we have achieved like with GoCardless users on average is quite fascinating. So in general, like 84% spend less time chasing invoices, again, focus on what they want to do best. And 80% improve their cash flow, which is quite significant, especially like if you always have like a tight cash flow issue, like that can make like a huge difference to your business. And as you can see in the top left-hand corner, we've been awarded like App Partner of the Year, 2 years running in the UK. And we just came home from New Zealand with App Partner of the Year over there. So we are very proud of that as well. And it's a great recognition because it shows like that what we do really has an impact on accountants, but also small businesses. And that's not only limited to the UK, that applies to the regions where we are currently in. And just to maybe mention that, if you were to have like international clients, you will be able to collect those with Direct Debit as well. What the only difference is you would need to have like individual bank account in each of those countries to collect like if it were different currencies. So we just launched ACH, which is the Direct Debit scheme over in the US. We are also live in Canada. We support all European countries and also New Zealand and Australia. So if you have clients over there, Direct Debit might be actually something you want to look into to collect fees from there as well. Now, the next few minutes, I would love to spend a little bit more on like showing you how easy it is to set up GoCardless with your client or for your own practice. The first step, very straightforward. You go to our website, or you can equally find us in the marketplace on the Xero add-on store, QuickBooks, Sage, Cashflow, you name it. We work with most of the major accountancy packages. But for this purpose today, I would like to focus on Xero. So the first page, you are asked to connect to a GoCardless account. All you need to do is to click the button. And on this very next page, it's very straightforward. You fill in a short form, basically just covering the name, email address, and give you an idea of the size of your business. And then you're basically already starting the setup process, because as the next step now, we asked you to connect to your existing Xero account. All you do is you click on the Connect to Xero button, a pop-up is showing up, and then asks you to log into your Xero account. And we basically do the rest, which is integrating your account with your Xero account. Step number 4 is also very straightforward. All you need to do is specify which bank account we should push the funds into that we are collecting for you. And secondly, where we separate out the fees in what sort of expense account. So you can select that from the drop-down menu. You're not necessarily required to do it at this step, but it's like one of the first setups you want to need to do. And so we highly encourage you to do it there and then. And then the interesting thing about GoCardless is like we give our clients always the option, and we are quite aware like once you start choosing a new product, generally speaking, you don't necessarily want to roll it out to all of your clients from the get-go. You maybe want to try it out like first with your own account, or maybe you want to try it out with a few clients first. And for that very reason, we have like 2 options initially. So when you set up GoCardless, you can decide if you want to manually set up new customers, or if you want to automatically send an email every time you onboard a new customer, which is quite interesting. So once you build up the confidence and understanding of the product, obviously a lot of people are using the automated way because that's the beauty of the product, is to automate the way how you collect money. But initially you can choose manual if you want to do it on a case-by-case basis. Now, the center of Direct Debit is really the mandate, and there are many different ways how you can send this mandate to your client, because the mandate is basically a form your client need to fill in, which will then by extension give you the consent to take the money out of the bank account. And as you can see, like this is a very straightforward, a modernized version of a direct debit form you might have seen like a few years ago, which you received via post. Those days, fortunately, are gone since we came around. So we moved the entire experience into the cloud and online. And all they need to do is they don't even need to put like a wet ink signature on it anymore. They just fill in these few fields, and you can see how easy it is. It takes 20 seconds. And if you click on Set up Direct Debit, excuse me, or the client that is, within 2 days, we set them up. And from then onwards, you can collect payments automatically. Now, oh, that was a bit too fast. What I would like to show you here is one of many ways how you can send this mandate to your client. So you have like a unique link, which you can include into a template you might create it in your email client. So this can be something like sitting outside of GoCardless, you might have a template, but also very interesting use case we found with a lot of accountants is they use software such as Practice Ignition or Go Proposal as a proposal software. So what they do is they copy and paste the link into the proposal form, send it out to the client as part of the onboarding process. So all the clients will do is they click on the link and they will see the direct debit form, they fill it in, and then every time you raise an invoice in Xero, we collect the fee. It's literally as simple as that. Option number 2 to get this mandate over to your client is what you see on the right-hand side here. So within GoCardless for Xero, you can push out an email to your clients. You can adjust the template, you can change the subject line, make the tone and wording a bit more like it sounds like coming from you. And then the way how you send it to your client is on this very view. So if you go to the GoCardless for Xero app, into customers, you will see on the right-hand side, you have like this action button, these 3 dots. And if you click on there and click on send email reminder, we send an email on your behalf, which is a great way if you don't want to copy and paste it in a template and individually send in emails to each respective clients. You can just do it all through there. The last option is if someone—
Sorry, could I just butt in there? Sorry to interrupt, but is there an option to email all customers at once?
We don't have that option available at the moment. It's like a question we receive quite often, and it's something we are looking into this. That's the answer I can give you at this stage. Yeah, it will certainly make the life of like a lot of merchants easier if they already have a huge client base of hundreds of clients. Totally agree. The beauty is like if you start GoCardless very early on in your journey, then if you click on automated onboarding, then every time you get a new client on Xero, we push that through to GoCardless and then send an automated email. So that's like the great way. Probably initially, if you have like hundreds of clients, you just have to click through, send an email to everyone, and then you need to keep track like who signed the mandate. But once you're over that stage, normally takes a week, like it's really set and forget in most instances. And there might be this use case where you raise an invoice in Xero, you send it to a client that might have not signed a mandate form yet. But if you want to collect via direct debit, how do you go about this? So many people are aware of the Pay Now button that comes with the Xero invoices. So if someone were to click and you identified you want to collect this invoice via direct debit, when they click this button, they're getting redirected to the mandate form. So there and then they can fill in the mandate form. It takes 2 days again to set them up on direct debit. And then that invoice will be collected and any future invoices will be also auto-collected. So if someone missed your email, for example, or might have ignored it, the moment they receive an invoice and they haven't signed a mandate yet, they still have a chance to sign it there and then. So you don't need to necessarily chase them, if that makes sense. Just a quick overview of like how many days it takes and when we start notifying your clients, because there's a legal obligation, especially in the Europe zone, to send a reminder a few days before we take a certain amount out of a client's bank account. So that happens within 3 days before the due date hits. The client will receive an automated email say like, this is GoCardless, Farnell Clarke is going to collect like X amount out of your bank account in 3 days time, which is a great touch point. So if someone might have missed the invoice, they will still get like another notification 3 days before. So it's never a surprise for the client when money is taken out of their bank account, which is very important because that adds like another level of peace of mind.
I do get asked questions about whether companies at that point in the middle there can, if they haven't authorized the payment, is that where they step in and they actually have a choice? Because some people worry that it's automatic now and you can't stop the payment. So how do people deal with approvals?
It's a very interesting question. So like within 3 days, they can raise like a dispute with the merchant directly, and you just hold back on the payment. The other one is like every business is covered by the so-called direct debit scheme. So as a client, again, another level of peace of mind. For whatever reason, maybe 6 months down the line, you decided actually I didn't agree like with that invoice I paid like 6 months ago, you can claim it back instantly from the bank. Obviously, you might think like that put a huge burden on the merchant. As long as you don't use it maliciously, and we haven't had like any proper records of like someone doing this, it doesn't impact the merchant at all. But it adds another level for the client to know like if something is going wrong, I can always recoup the money instantly. So basically, they put the crest in with the bank. We charge you back instantly, and then we get the money from the merchant a few days later. Yeah, and probably what's also very interesting to know is like when I'm getting paid. So when do I see the money showing up in my bank account? It's 2 days after the due date. So in the Xero instance with the invoices, 2 days after the Xero invoice due date. Very straightforward, easy to remember. Just a quick process like how the reconciliation works in Xero, because that's another way how a lot of business spend a lot of time to reconcile manually like all these payment transactions. So the way how we work is like we have a so-called clearing account in the middle that helps like to automate as much as we can. So when we send the sales invoice out to the client and the invoice is getting paid, we moved it into a clearing account, but then we separated out the expense, which we take directly from the source. And I think at this point it's probably very interesting to mention like our pricing structure, which is very transparent, is always 1%. And the cap is £2. So for every invoice, you never pay more than £2. The minimum amount is like 20p. And so we take that from the source, we push that into the expense account. If you remember before during the setup process, you were asked like the expense account you would like to push this to. It will be pushed into that. And many people choose like a GoCardless fee account just to know exactly like which fees belong to GoCardless. And then the rest is pushed into your current account. And then all you need to do in the Xero tab reconciliation, with one click of a button, you reconcile it, and that's literally the job done. As simple as that.
Yeah, I think that's really positive, because at the end of the day, I know like you've mentioned charges. Yes, there is a small charge for this service, but I think the time saving and everything else more than outweighs, say, like £2. For me, like I said, I look after new clients here at Farnell Clarke, and part of my onboarding process is to send out that link. I know that we've got it into Go Proposal now, but it's not even a minute to kind of do it as part of your process. So good processes save time, as well as introducing things like this. So don't think, it's going to be a big task by any means. No, it's really easy. It flows through Xero, and it is just literally that click of the button.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty much it. So as you can see, like setting up is very straightforward. The only stage what I haven't shown is the verification stage. And this is something like every business has to go through, and that might take a few days. It's on a really case-by-case basis. That's why I didn't want to show it. But it's a typical KYC AML check. So it's sort of like a soft background check we have to do. We are legally obliged to do that for every business that is signing up to GoCardless. And all it requires is like a proof of identity and 2 proofs of address. Again, it's a very straightforward approach, which you might be familiar with if you open bank accounts in the past or credit cards. And then once you're through this, we have like this 1p bank verification. So what we do is like we send like a 1p to the dedicated bank account, and you just have to put in like the reference number back when you're logging back into GoCardless. That confirms the bank account, and that concludes the setup process.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Florian. We learned a lot. And anyone watching this, if you want to get involved with us, we can get you hooked up with clever software like this and essentially help you boost your business. That's what we're here. That's what we're all about here at Farnell Clarke, is to help businesses do better and improve performance. So get in touch and with Rebecca or I, and we can help you out.
Yeah, thanks again, Florian. Thanks for Patrick, and again another great demo there. And yeah, again, like I say, we can more than vouch for the product, and what better way to vouch it is by us using it ourselves. But yeah, thanks guys, and we'll see you again next month for another Tech Stack webinar.